So I want to talk a little bit about the saying in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that the prophet will never lead you astray. It's a saying that Elder Rasband mentioned in his general conference talk today. It's also something that's printed alongside official declaration 2 in the Doctrine and Covenants as an excerpt from a speech that's not necessarily canonized, but but it is a statement viewed with authority. It's been said by several church authorities, and I agree with it. I think that some people disagree with it, and they will point to examples where the church has changed its policies. So, for example, the ban on blacks of African Americans and black, darker skinned people in general receiving priesthood ordinations. And they say, well, the church says that wasn't necessarily an inspired decision, but that was a church policy. And I think, for me, I make a distinction between general church policies, which I think often will change, and the idea that the prophet will never lead me astray. The prophet has never told me to treat someone of another race in an unkind way. In fact, the complete opposite. The prophet has told me to not be racist and to be kind to people in other cultures, to reach out to refugees, and to rid myself of any racism. So when I think of the prophet never leading me astray, I think of it as a personal thing, that when the prophet gives me counsel to seek revelation and to do things, that's counsel to me. And every time that I've followed that, I have not been led astray. I have been blessed. So there might be times where I would disagree with the church policy, and even that the church's official position now is that the policy was wrong or not inspired. It was just a policy for men. And that doesn't bother me, because that's not a case of the prophet leading me astray as a person. That's just a case of the policy changing. And that happens lots of times. For example, with the name of the church. Scripturally, the church's name is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's a name given by revelation. The Church of Jesus Christ, it should be called in Christ's name. That's in the Book of Mormon. It's in the Doctrine and Covenants. We, for a long time, church policy kind of de-emphasized that, and we embraced the term Mormon. And then recently, President Nelson has said, "Oh no, we're going to emphasize the correct name of the church, and we're going to get rid of that." So even though we had terms like Mormon Tabernacle Choir, and in church publications and things, we had movies like Meet the Mormons, we are now avoiding that term because we are members of the Church of Jesus Christ, and that's the emphasis. Sometimes when I'm talking about history, I will sometimes use the word Mormon, but it's something that I'm trying to change my vocabulary, because it's something that I've changed a lot. But that's an instance where the prophet has changed things. The prophet never said, use the term Mormon to me, but they just kind of let it happen. And it was a policy that there were things, church products named Mormon, but the prophet has said now, use the correct name of the church. And so when it's counsel given to me, I distinguish it from policy. And when I have followed counsel given to me from the prophet, it has always led me well. I have always been blessed by it, and I've appreciated it.